Welcome back to day 8 of the Australian Open 2020. In this video I'm going to be reviewing the last 4 round of 16 matches that took place on the men's side of the draw. I'm going to try and keep the video as short as possible because of how good the matches were, I could probably go on for hours and hours. But kicking things off with the match that's just finished, Rafael Nadal against Nick Kyrgios, and this was billed as, a match of the tournament, the popcorn match. Obviously Nick Kyrgios being the character he is in Australia, up against the world number one, looking to win his 20th Grand Slam title. Rafael Nadal, we all know there's that little bit of needle between the two players, and yet it lived up to all expectations really, and surpassed them at times. Nadal came out in the first set, and as he always does, he really starts games well now. He really stamps his authority on matches, and you could see wanting to try and play the crowd down, really get on top of Kyrgios, win that first set, knowing that Kyrgios had that 5th set marathon against Karen Khachanov in the previous round. I think Rafa knew that if he started well, it obviously meant for a long match if Kyrgios was to win, which wouldn't favour him. I always felt the longer the match went on, Nadal would get stronger and stronger, whereas I'm not sure how much Kyrgios would have left in them latter stages, when you consider he had that 5-set match against Khachanov. And Nadal done that. He came out, he served well from the off, tying the ball particularly well. He was getting his forehand in play, and Kyrgios just played one lap service game. I said this in the preview that I worried if he had lapses in concentration, didn't quite get his serve on point in any games, and Rafa got the ball back in court. I did favour Rafa in them longer rallies. That proved to be the case in the first set. He secured an early break and served it out easily to take it 6-3. But in the second set, Kyrgios came flying back. Rafa played a very uncharacteristic-like game, missing a number of forehands to gift Kyrgios a break really, and that's the last thing you want to do. He really got the crowd engaged, Kyrgios, as he does, diving about the court, and that really gave him a lift. I think until that point he was wondering how he was going to break Rafa, but after that he served unbelievably. Kyrgios really he attacked Rafa's backhand. He was hitting huge forehands down the line. He was drop shotting, coming into the net. His net play was very, very good today. And Kyrgios also surprised me with how much success he had in the longer rallies. I expected Nadal to absolutely dominate them, but that wasn't really the case. Nadal's forehand at times today was a little wayward. He hit quite a few long, but Kyrgios was biding his time. He was happy to rally with Rafa, happy to go toe to toe with him. And in that second set, he fully deserved it. He levelled it up at 1-1. Winning that second set 6-3. I thought the third set was always going to be pivotal, and if Kyrgios was to win this match, I thought he had to win the third set. I wasn't sure he could win it in 5, especially being 2-1 down. This set was just, and the fourth set were just quite incredible really. Both players on serve, they were finding the corners, they were both aggressive, they were both drop shotting. There was points at the net where both were volleying 3 and 4 times, and I can't really do it justice. You're better off probably watching the highlights. But yeah, it was just quite an incredible match that went to a deserving tiebreak. I think a tiebreak was a fair way to split them in that third set. Rafa took the lead. Kyrgios made a few questionable shot choices, often trying to drop shot when having a half volley, instead of just hammering his forehand into the corner, which I didn't quite understand. I know he's trying to switch it up and maybe take Rafa away from his game plan, but to me, when you've got a weapon like Kyrgios has in that forehand, then if it sits up mid-court, then you have to use it to full effect and just hit it as hard as you can into the corner. And that cost him in the end. He attempted a couple of drop shots from too deep in the court that just trickled down the net, and that gave Rafa a lead. Rafa did actually double fault on set point. I think a member of the crowd, I think a little girl was crying, which sort of put Rafa off his stride, and let Kyrgios back into the tiebreak 6-6. But Rafa played 2 outstanding points from 6-6 to take it 8-6 and take a lead into that fourth set. The fourth set was more the same really. Very level throughout, both serving incredibly well, both struggling to get in each other's service games. Eventually Rafa did break, and I thought that was it. I thought the match was over. I thought that was the stuffing knocked out of Kyrgios. But at 5-4, Rafa didn't play a bad service game. I think it was more Kyrgios. Just turned into I don't know where he got a form. He had reserves from somewhere, but he played probably his best game of the match to break Rafa and level at 5-5. There was a couple of long games that took it to another tie break, and I wanted Kyrgios to win that tie break. To be honest, I thought he deserved a fifth set for his performance, and I just wanted to see more tennis. And he could have won that tie break. Kyrgios, I felt he was serving well throughout it. And then all of a sudden Rafa just took over. He seized his opportunity. He sensed that the winning line was in sight, and Rafa, in typical Rafa style, is a great competitor. We know how good he is at these points in sets, and he just upped his level for a few minutes, a few shots, and that was that. He took the tiebreak 7-4 in the end. There was a nice handshake at the end, which was good to see. A lot of respect shown between the two players after an epic battle. Nadal moves on. He's into another quarter final of a Grand Slam. Obviously looking for his 20th, to level with Roger, going into the French Open, which he always wins. And Kyrgios, it's probably the best Kyrgios I've seen, if not, well, definitely in the last few years, if not ever. I think that's a testament to how good Nadal is. Obviously, I'm saying it's the best performance I've ever seen from a player like Nick Kyrgios, and he still only took one set from Nadal, which showed just how good Rafa is. Kyrgios, I think he didn't do a lot wrong today. He had a couple of lap service games, but that's always going to happen against a player of that quality over that length of match. And he played a brilliant match, really. Kyrgios, it could have went either way. Just Rafa turned it on really at them big stages, as he always does. But what an incredible match. And Rafa moves on to face the Austrian Dominic Thiem, who came through in straight sets against Gael Monfils. In my preview, I did say I worried for Monfils in this one. I think to beat a player like Dominic Thiem or beat one of the big three, Monfils would have to serve a hell of a lot of aces, make a huge amount of first serves, and with him nursing that hand injury, that was never going to be possible. Monfils did make a lot of first serves in this match. He tried to vary it up. He tried to construct points from it rather than hit outright winners. But didn't really come off for him. Thiem, I thought, returned very well. He was very clever in his game style. Thiem didn't really try and redline the ball too much. He didn't take the ball on really early in rallies. I think he was always confident throughout the team that he would win the longer points and that he would wear Monfils down. He's a lot more consistent Thiem, and all around he's a much better player than Monfils. With his net play, his forehand, backhand, movement around the court, his speed, his fitness. I think everything about Thiem is just a level above Monfils, and that was a good performance from Thiem. I said pre-tournament that I really want him to make a breakthrough at the Grand Slam away from the French Open, and now he's presented with a great opportunity now. He's up against Nadal in the quarter final, and what a statement that would be if he was to win that one. If he was to win that and progress to the semi-final, he'd fancy himself to win the tournament. And he has played well so far, Thiem. He's lost, I think, 1 or 2 sets so far this week, which is great for him. Stamina-wise, he's going at Nadal match fully fresh. As for Monfils, I think he's doing well to reach the last 16. When you consider he's had this hand injury, top 16 player now. Against any player outside the top 16, I would fancy Monfils, particularly over 3 sets. He's not the fittest guy on tour, very athletic, but not the fittest. And he's just not consistent enough for me. He's a great player. He is great to watch, very entertaining. He plays some shots that nobody else on tour could play. But when he's up against the big three or a team of Wawrinka, Murray, then you need that consistency. You need that certain level of performance throughout. He doesn't quite ever come up with that. But great tournament from Gael, and on moves Dominic Thiem to face Rafael Nadal in the quarter final. Next matchup is match of the round for me so far. Stan Wawrinka against Daniil Medvedev. I thought this was incredible and one of my favourite tennis matches over the past few years. It was one of them where, was it going to be a change in the guard? It was next gen against experience. What did Stan have left after quite a disappointing 2019? Was Medvedev just going to brush him aside? Obviously many tip Medvedev to come to this tournament and win it. Part of that next gen group with the Tsitsipas, Zverevs, Rublev, and Stan was just quite incredible, really. As I say, he got beat off Medvedev in the 2018 US Open, but he came out, Stan, with just an unbelievable mindset that he has. He served over 80% of first serves, I believe, in that first set. He was hammering it down the tee a lot of the time. His forehand, obviously, he's got a wonderful backhand, was in full flow, and Medvedev didn't do a lot wrong, really. I don't think any player in the world could have lived with that Stan in that first set. The way he was just hitting the ball so cleanly and timing the ball so well from the off, it looked like he'd been there 2 or 3 hours. The way he was hitting the ball. But Medvedev, in all fairness, he fought back. He changed his tactics up in that second set and third set, which I was very impressed by for a young player. Obviously, still relatively inexperienced at this level. He has reached one Grand Slam final. But Medvedev, he started to serve a lot more first serves in that first set, which was allowing him to gain more control. It was allowing him to attack, open up his forehand and backhand, push Stan back in the court. I thought that was important in the first set. He wasn't missing his margin by much, Medvedev, but he was giving, Wawrinka a few short balls, and obviously Wawrinka was seizing on them straight away and just hammering them into the corners. I think Medvedev recognised that you had to hit the ball a lot deeper. You had to push Stan back, keep Stan on the run. At 34-year-old, I think he tried to wear Stan down. And yeah, Medvedev, he took the second and third set, 6-2, 6-4. He won them quite comfortably in the end. As I say, his serve was looking in brilliant motion, and he became a huge favourite then. I thought, 34-year-old Stan, I would never write you off, Stan, but this is going to take some comeback. And in typical Stan fashion, he produced it. I think he's one of them players where he just finds his best tennis at the biggest moments of matches. He really is an incredible player. In these last 16 matches, quarterfinals, semi-finals, and finals, his attitude, his mindset, his ability is just up there with the best for me that I've seen personally. The fourth set went to a tie break, and I think Stan just thought, yeah, let's have a go. He's 7 points from exiting the tournament. He just went for his shots, and every shot he went for, he hit. He served unbelievable in that fourth set tie break. He was hitting winner after winner, and it was one of them where, again, poor for Medvedev, he didn't do a lot wrong, really. Just Stan was playing at that higher level. There was nothing Medvedev could do. Any short ball, Wawrinka was just capitalising on, just hammer it into the corner with real power, precision, and we forced a decider. Wawrinka in that decider was, you run out of words to describe Wawrinka's quality, really, in that fifth set. He just served, returned, done everything perfectly. Medvedev didn't play his best set of tennis by any means. It didn't look like he had much left in the tank, which I was quite surprised by. Stan certainly looked the fresher of the two, but when Stan gained the early break, he got that momentum. He was never looked like letting go, and he won a fifth set absolute thriller to move into another quarter final. And I'm certainly not writing him off now. I tipped up Medvedev in my preview. I said it would go to 5 sets, and I just thought Medvedev, with the youth on his side, with the form of 2019, and he obviously beat Stan last year, that I did slightly favour Medvedev, but I'm kind of regretting that now. I don't know why I ever doubt Stan in these sort of matches. And he moves on to the quarter final, and what a performance from Stan Wawrinka. Just when you start to doubt whether Stan's got much left, can he win another Grand Slam? A 34-year-old, he just rolls back the years and pulls out tennis of the ages, and beats one of the best up and coming players, ranked number 4 in the world, and moves on to yet another Grand Slam quarter final. The last match we're going to look at is Alexander Zverev was up against Rublev of Russia, and what a performance from Sasha Zverev. I've said in my preview of this match, I was impressed by Zverev pre-tournament, even in the press conferences, taking all pressure off himself. I think a lot of people's eyes were focused on Tsitsipas and Medvedev coming in this tournament, but Zverev's cruised through the quarterfinal without dropping a set yet. In his pre-tournament press conference, he did say, "I'm not playing well. I'm just going to come and see what happens." Clearly not expecting much of himself, which related to the crowd and the press. But he's been outstanding so far. Arguably the player of the tournament. He's the only player I believe still in the draw yet to drop the set. His serve's been just unbelievable. It looks like almost it's transformed since 2019. He was serving at 75% over the first few sets in this match. First 1 and 2 sets in this match, serving at 75%, which is unbelievable numbers. It allowed him to really bully Rublev and really put pressure on Rublev's serve. Rublev struggled to get into the Zverev service games. I'm not sure he actually managed to get a break point at all in the match. Zverev served that well. But I said about Zverev when he first came on the scene that he had that much hype around him. I think he was that desperate to succeed that his game style changed. He was trying to hit more winners than he needed to do. He was trying to redline his backhand too early in rallies. And it looks like he's reined back now. I think he's realised that just play to win matches. It doesn't matter how entertaining you are. It doesn't matter how many winners you hit. Just play to your strengths and do what you need to do to win matches. And that's what he's doing now. He's being more patient in rallies. He's switching up his game. He can attack the net. He's rallying from deep. He's still got that huge backhand that he unloads when he seizes the opportunity. His forehand looks a lot more solid than it has done over the past few years. But as I say, the biggest weapon of Zverev now is his first serve. If he can keep continuing to hit numbers like 75 and 80% of first serves, then he's going to be tough to beat. As for Rublev, wasn't his best performance. He's obviously came into this match on a 12 match winning streak, which is an incredible feat at this day and age. He's played some outstanding tennis in 2020. I'm sure he'll have a great season. But I do think their matches started to take the toll. This morning his movement didn't look quite as good. He didn't serve as well as he has done. His movement around the court was a little bit slower than it has been in previous rounds in tournaments. And as I say, he could never really get into the Zverev service games, so he was really struggling to get into the match in terms of winning a set. His serve was constantly under pressure with Zverev's return game. But for Rublev, he's such an exciting young player. He's very flair, very entertaining to watch. And maybe this was just a step too far for him in terms of stamina, in terms of quality. But I'm really pleased for Sasha Zverev. I'm pleased he's back. He looks back to the player that he was when he first came on the scene. And imagine if he just did come in the Australian Open with no pressure on his back and clear up and win the tournament. What a story that would be. So he moves on to the quarter-final to face Stan Wawrinka in what will be quite an incredible match, I believe. But I'm nearly at 20 minutes now. I'm going to try and wrap this up now and keep it as short as possible. I'm going to be bringing out 2 videos later on, predicting the 2 men's quarterfinals and the 2 women's quarterfinals that will be played later on. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tennis this morning. I certainly did. And please like and subscribe.